all things come to an end. There is a time and a season for all things. There is the time when something is birthed, and there is the time when it dies. But the birthing of all things is the death of other things, and the death of all things that occur are also birthings. This is most certainly true amongst humankind in their institutions. Governments are born and governments die. And as a government suffers in its pangs and throes of death, another is born. And religions, oh yes, they too are birthed and they too die. And there is a cycle of birth and death and rebirth. Just as there is such for humanity, there is also for the institutions of humanity. And these cycles run on a greater span of time, but they do occur. Many of you are now worried because you look about you and you see in the various countries throughout the world great chaos and upheaval. In fact, there has been great chaos and upheaval for 100 years almost. Oh yes, there was even the World War I and the war to end all wars, World War II. And since there have been wars and continued rumors of wars and more wars. And that is but the beginning. You see, there is chaos and there is now a populist movement. Not in one country, not in two countries, not in a few countries, but in many countries throughout the world. But populism is not a way that a government can run, yet it is the way that governments are overthrown and the way that governments are toppled. Populism is the death pangs of many governments, and yet that can be the birthing of new governments. Oh, but you live in such a time of chaos, for it is the end of an age, the end of an era. And did not Jesus Christ himself say, when you see these things come to pass, it will be the end of an age. It will be the end of a time. And is not the end of one time always the beginning of another time? There have been astrological errors throughout the ages. These have been kept in calendar, and it has been realized that such exist. The Egyptians knew such existed. Oh, the Hebrews in their Kabbalic studies have always known such exist. And did not even the Incas and Aztecs keep time? Did they not record accordingly the series of times and the wheels of times and how such moved? For there are ages, and there are ages coming, and there are ages past. Is such not also known by those who study the Vedas? Is this not commonly known in Hinduism and in Buddhism, that ages actually one roll upon another? Is it not seen in the mystical that the serpent swallows its own tail and is rebirthed again and again and again? So you worry and you think that there is chaos in the world, and yet these death throes that you see are birth pangs, for that is most necessary. That is most necessary, that a death occur, for a birth to occur, for a rebirth to occur, for a new age, a new time, and a new era to be made manifest. And it is not just governments, it is a new age, a new mentality, a new way of being as you enter into a new era of enlightenment and knowledge. But must you travel through darkness to enter into that era? Must you go through a tunnel of darkness to enter into the brilliance? And is it just governments? No, it is not just governments. You see educational institutions floundering and having trouble keeping up because they are still holding on to the old ways as new ways are made manifest. You see the religions of the past grappling with issues that will cause them to go the way of other ancient religions. Oh, there will always be a few adherents here and there of faiths once they go away. Are there not today still a few people who look back to the ancient traditions of the Druids or of the Egyptians? Are there not a few people here and there who maintain various tribal religions? Are there not a few people who hold and cling to the past? Yet religion also is seeing the same upheaval as government is seeing. And man is advancing, and evolution of thought and evolution of spirit demands change. It demands a change of society. It demands a change of government. It demands a change of religion. It demands an advancement in spirituality. Oh, your fiction authors have laid the ground for you so keenly as always they would. And you have seen in science fiction films a glimpse of your future to come. Yet you do not realize that these writers are in essence prophets, for they write with the knowledge of the future by their intuition, building on the strings of the present and playing those strings like harpsichords, so they make melodies that can be followed into the future. For it is always dreams that move ahead of reality, and dreams that move ahead of fact, and dreams that move ahead of prosperity, and dreams that move ahead of achievement. Yes, yes, yes. That means those who have been dreamers in the past, your writers, your actors, your singers, oh, they are your future, for they are prophets, so to speak, and they show you what the future can be in its beauty, and they show you often what the present is in its horror and reality. So We tell you this while you expect us now to condemn religion, and you expect us to condemn the foolish actions of various governments. We would rather tell you you are at the changing and the turning of an age, and that when an age turns there is chaos and there is upheaval, and the governments that cling to the past, the religions that cling to the past, the spirituality of the past is all that which evaporates, that which fails, that which was and is not. For in truth the eternal essence is love, and love always was, love is, and love always will be. But nothing else is eternal. And that being said, then, God existed before religion. God existed before the expressions that worship God. God existed before form, and God existed before force. So God does not need your religion. God does not need your sacrifice. God does not need your commitment. God is eternal. You need the divine. You need God. You need blessings. But God doesn't need your religion. You need God. It is that simple. But it is also true that form must be manifest for all things to continue to advance. Therefore, for you to be able to have law, for you to be able to have order, for you to be able to worship, for you to be able to have an education, you must have structure. You must have structure in government and rules and regulations and civility. You must have structure in religion, that you may actually lift your worship up, and that you may formate your morals and give thanks to the divine. You must have structure in your education, for without structure you cannot learn. It is simple. So, now that there is a change in astrological ages, and now that there is a change in knowledge, and now that there is a change in evolution, and now that there is a change in electronics and in communication and in the instantness of the same, and in the way that the world will be powered, and in the way that humanity will exist and communicate, with all of this changing more rapidly than you realize, more rapidly than you can even possibly know, for you're still living in the old world and the change is coming upon you, and yet the change has not occurred, for the veil is about to be lifted, and there will be change, tremendous change like that which has not been seen, and the governments of today will be shaken to their very core, and the religions of today will be shaken to the very root of existence, because they have failed to move forward with changing world. The world will change, and you must change with it. That is the essence of evolutionary survival, physical, mental, and spiritual. We leave you with blessings and with peace. Peace be with each of you.